So we are getting a closer look at some of the top issues that swayed voters in Virginia. CBS News finds hot topics like education, taxes, and the economy drove voters to the polls for Republican businessman Glenn Youngkin. Anthony Salvanto joins me now to break this all down, break down the latest results. He is, of course, the Director of Elections and Surveys at CBS News. This is your time, Anthony, and we love talking to you about this. So I guess my first question is, how did Youngkin win Virginia?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. I'm going to start with this slide, which is the most important issue. Well, voters felt Youngkin would do better on it, and that was the economy, that 56-44. And there's another one that I want to show everybody, too, and this one is how the vote breaks down among independents. Now, sometimes we overemphasize this, but not in this case. You've got independents here in 2021 voting for the Republican, and that's a big flip from what exit polls showed in the presidential race when last time Joe Biden carried them. So look at that difference there, that 38-57, and then look at what happened as Youngkin carried them last night. And some of that then explains the way, when you look at the map of Virginia last night, and we were here late and we were watching it all come in some of these Democratic areas, or what had been even more Democratic areas, Youngkin cut into what's usually a Democratic lead. I'm going to pick one county in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., Loudoun County. We watched tonight. Yeah, McAuliffe wins it, but let me show you what it was in 2020. Biden won it by more. And there's example after example of that throughout Virginia, whereby winning more independents, Youngkin was able then to cut into what had been even more Democratic areas and flip the race, Anne-Marie.
But, you know, McAuliffe brought in some Democratic heavy hitters, including the president himself. How did President Biden play into this race?
Well, one way, and I'm going to take you back to the exit polls here, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. And one of them is that take a look at the groups that supported each of the candidates, right? Parents, and this is really important too, parents supporting Youngkin marginally. Voters over 45, older voters, also supporting Youngkin. These are the kinds of groups that not only have flipped, that not only supported the Republican more here, but to your point about motivating turnout, this electorate for Democrats wasn't as young as they probably wanted, for starters. Didn't get as many of their core voters out as they probably wanted. At least 1 million votes less than what was cast back in 2020. So I think some of that motivation, some of that effort to get that Democratic base out to an extent fell short for them, Anne-Marie.
Yeah. Before I let you go, got to ask you about New Jersey. Just, a few weeks ago, it seemed like the incumbent was going to win for sure. And now we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Now, let's face it. There wasn't a lot of polling in New Jersey. We didn't poll there. A lot of people didn't. But part of that was the presumption that, yeah, hey, this is a heavily Democratic state, right? This one's a slam dunk for a Democrat. Not so fast, okay? So what we know is that this is obviously dead even. But I do want to emphasize for everybody, more of the vote that is still outstanding appears to come from more Democratic areas, okay, and that's probably giving the Murphy campaign a little bit of optimism, even though this is a toss-up at the moment. So you go to places like Essex County, there's still about a quarter of it to come in, where Democrats often do well. Passaic County, still about a quarter of it to come in. All of these areas up here. Let's go down around Mercer County, around Trenton, still a lot of it to come in. So let's see what happens over the course of the day. Some of this is an artifact of what's been counted already. But having said all that, way closer than I think the conventional wisdom going in ever anticipated, Anne-Marie.
Certainly, Anthony. Thank you very much.